When you look at the content of the book, it really is for a very broad audience. As well as that, there are people who are very happy and healthy with their lives, who are just looking for improving the quality of their lives, and there's some interesting chapters for them too. My feeling is that the book could be quite useful for young people, both at secondary level and tertiary level. You'll see there's quite a strong emphasis on mental well-being in this book, but there's also some important chapters on physical health. That includes healthy eating, the benefits of exercise, and even a special chapter on sexual health issues, which we think many of our readers will find interesting. The first chapter in the book is by Professor Tim Sharp, and it's about positive psychology. And Tim Sharp has really been an international leader in the positive psychology movement. In fact, he was the founder of the Happiness Institute, and I think he's also termed the Chief Happiness Officer, which is a delightful term. And what I like about his chapter is it's heavily grounded in the latest science, and at the same time there's very practical tips for people on how they can improve happiness in their lives. Life Surfing, Life Dancing also has a chapter about sexual health written by Dr. Trini Uy. And it's a fantastic chapter because often sexual health issues are one of the most embarrassing issues that patients come in with. So typically when I'm sitting in my general practice and a patient comes in and says, "I'm just here for a checkup." Well, sometimes they are just there for a checkup, but more often I'm waiting for them to tell me about their mental health problem or possibly their sexual health problem. So what Trini Uy's done in her chapter is cover the common sexual diseases, but also talked about prevention, and also looked at what a sexual health checkup would involve. We're delighted to have Sophie Holmes, who's a very well-regarded family therapist, talking about some principles for healthy relationships, and I highly recommend that chapter for you. Professor Andrew Sinclair has written an excellent chapter in the book about healthy eating, and what's remarkable about the chapter is that he covers some of the controversial areas, and it really struck me how much Australians have changed their patterns of eating even over the last 30 or 40 years. So Australia's relationship with food is complex, and in this chapter he also talks about the important role of the media and how that influences our attitudes to food as well. So I think that people will find this chapter very interesting. We have Megan Teixeira has written an excellent chapter called Use It or Lose It, which focuses on the benefits of an active lifestyle. And she covers the science behind this as well as the practical problems for people incorporating exercise into their lives. We've also got Professor Rob Moody writing appropriately about life balance. So what better person could we have? Rob has managed to have a rich family life. In fact, he was at one point Victorian Father of the Year, and at the same time has had a stellar public health career teaching global health and public health internationally. Professor Kathy Griffiths has written an excellent chapter called Surfing Out of the Depths, where she overviews many of the online mental health resources that are now available, such as eCouch and Mood Gym. She also talks about her own personal experience with mental health, and she's really been quite an inspiring leader in this country on mental health issues. Dr. Sarah Edelman has written a fantastic chapter about managing worries, and I think I need to read it again myself a few times, as we all might need to. But she's been a fantastic communicator in the community on complex ideas such as anxiety and depression, and a psychological approach called cognitive behavioural therapy. So her book, Change Your Thinking, is absolutely brilliant, and I recommend it to all my patients with mental health problems. When Helen and I spoke about the Life Surfing, Life Dancing book, we really felt it would be incomplete without dealing with the enormous drug and alcohol problem that exists. So in his chapter, Professor Adrian Dunlop has dealt with what I would say is one of the hardest areas to deal with in medicine, the problem of addiction. So his chapter will be helpful for individuals, but also families who have someone in their family experiencing a drug or alcohol problem. Dr. Craig Hassad has produced an excellent chapter on mindfulness, which it's fair to say is one of the most popular growing psychological approaches at the moment. And in fact, there is a growing evidence base for the effectiveness of this approach for common mental disorders. I should say that Dr. Hassad was one of my first medical teachers back in the 80s at Monash University, and was really teaching us very much about these mindfulness approaches way back then. So now he's a speaker and writer in great demand, and we're delighted that he could contribute that chapter. I was very pleased to write a chapter with Professor Michael Kidd, who is the Dean of Flinders Medical University and the incoming chair of the World Organisation of Family Doctors. And in it, we've really sung the praises of the humble GP. Of course, we're both completely biased since we're both general practitioners. However, we do think that we've pointed out what are some of the great benefits of having a regular GP, and we hope you'll enjoy that chapter too. The final chapter in the book by Associate Professor John Fitzgerald, called Care of the Self, Care of the World, looks at the links between human health and the environment. And it's so easy in our modern life to forget how connected we are. We need fresh air, clean water, clean food, and I think that John's chapter really encourages us to look outside our own individual health. The book Life Surfing, Life Dancing is available for free on the Future Leaders website, and the website address is www.futureleaders.com.au. Also, hard copies can be obtained by contacting Future Leaders. In particular, schools, universities, medical practitioners, patients who might like a hard copy should contact Future Leaders.